Hello everyone. My name is Muzi Beats, and today I thought it would be fun if I showed you, how I mix my beats. I guess. Before I show you how I mix my stuff, I should put a disclaimer out there saying that this is not the perfect way to mix beats, but this is just the way I do it. And I just want to also say I'm not the best at doing it, but then this is a way that I found is very effective too, and it gets your sounds to be crisp and clean, I guess. So first things first, what I did was, fuck, I forgot flute. Sorry, my bad. I forgot flute at the top. Hey, give me a second. File, view, flute on top. Okay. As I was saying, first thing I did, was I went to the channel rack and then I selected everything by double clicking, and then it selects everything, and then I press Command Shift L or Control Shift L, or something else you can do is you can go to channel routing and choose route select channel from this track. So route everything, all the sounds you have on your channel rack, or into the mixer, everything. As you can see, I have this loop from Looperman. It's all in green. Then I have all my drum sounds. They're all in gray. Then basically what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to play the entire beat, and then I'm going to show you how I'm going to end up mixing it. So here we go. So it's like a Kid Leroy type beat, I guess, with like pop chords and trap drums. So next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go back into the mixer. Then we're gonna select the channel rack. Yeah. Now basically, I tried to use a version of gain staging that I learned off an internet money tutorial. And what they say is that before you start mixing your sounds, is that you should bring everything down on the channel rack so that it hits 12. Yeah. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so this melody is peaking at -3. That's way too loud. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring this down so it's peaking at 12. Bring it up a little bit more. Basically, we just want everything under 12 dB. Then we're just gonna go to the next sound. And then we're gonna go to the 808. That's peaking at 9, so we're gonna reduce it so that when the note where it goes up hits, it peaks at 12 again. Yeah. And then the hi-hats. The snare. These have already been put down properly. Then the kick. This is actually like if I click on the click, click on the click. if I click, fuck. If I click on the kick, you can actually hear that it's exceeding. It's actually a very loud sound. So we have to turn this down by a lot actually. So let's. It's hidden 0. I was about to say -0. That would have been some dumb. That would have been something dumb to say. Okay, so everything's mixed. So everything here is done properly. Now what I'm going to do next is I am going to solo out the 808. So it's the only thing playing. Then I'm gonna open up an EQ. I'm gonna uh, click here, bring it down on the first band, and then I'm gonna try cut off all the sub frequencies, because these are all frequencies we can't hear on our monitors or on our speakers. But then if you're doing a car test, or if you're doing like a big DJ booth test or whatnot, or if your songs being played in a club, it would just be a lot of low end rumble. So it's better just to cut those out. And the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna oh yeah I'm gonna actually put the kick in mono, just so that it doesn't interfere with other frequencies. and mount as low as possible. And then I'm going to try bring it down so that it hits at minus 15 dB. Sorry, my speakers are tripping. Okay, perfect. I like that. Then I'm gonna open up the kick. Honestly, the kick is already hitting at 12, and that's where I already wanted to hit. But then after I open up the EQ, and then I cut off certain frequencies, it's gonna start hitting above 12. And as I said, I'm gonna put this in mono 2, and then I'm gonna bring it down a notch, not by too much. Then I'm gonna go to the hi-hat next. I'm gonna shift these to the left, just so that when someone's listening on headphones or on speakers, not everything's in the center. There's elements, sounds and elements coming from the left and the right. So I'm just gonna bring this down. I think it's gonna hit minus 24 or minus 27 dB. Then I'm gonna go to the snare, and I want the snare to be hidden at 18 dB or under 18 dB, because I don't want it to be too loud when I limit everything and bring everything up by like 6 dB, 7 dB. But I don't want the snare to be too loud, so I just want it to be hidden at a good point. Oh, and then if you find anything I just said useful, don't forget to subscribe. Then the perk barely hits, but then I'm gonna bring it down to like minus 27, 24, around there. I just want to be lower. I want to be lower than the hi-hat. I'm gonna do the same thing with the cowbell. So now we're gonna go into the melody, and first thing, even before I play it, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut off the bass frequencies, open up the EQ and try to cut off some of the bass frequencies, just so that we can leave room for the 808 and the kick to hit, because we want those not only be our loudest instruments, but then we don't want anything with interfering with the bass. And then I'm going to use the stereo separation and make it more stereo. Instead of making it mono, I'm going to try and make it more stereo, just so that it sits above the mix low key, put it at 25%. And then I'm going to shift everything to the right. I'm going to pan it to the right, probably by 15%, just so that the main instruments are leaving in the middle of the kick, the bass, and the snare. And then I'm going to try to reduce this just so that it hits at either minus 18 or minus 21. We'll see. Now, this is just naturally going to be loud too. So I'm going to press play and then EQ it. So what I'm going to do, as I said, is cut off the bass frequencies. And what I want is that this guitar should like be more in the background. So I'm gonna roll off some of the mid frequencies too, just so that the main guitar playing should have more frequencies playing and it should be more prevalent in the mix. Did I use that word right? Prevalent? Anyways. Then I'm going to pan this to the right by 15% too. And then I'm going to bring this down. Okay. Now, as you can see, we're peaking at minus 9 dB. And from what I understand, we're trying to get the mix to hit around like between 3 dB to 0 dB. So what the first thing I'm going to do actually is, I still feel like there's still some frequencies here but beyond the sub area. So I'm just gonna, because I can't really make mistakes, because if I roll off too much, I'm gonna end up affecting the bass. So what I'm gonna do actually is I'm just gonna take the first band, make it 8 steep, and then just see where, because I'm trying to cut off the low end rumble in the master, so to make sure that there's none of this frequency playing here. And I'm trying to make sure I do not cut off the sub bass too, because if I cut off the sub bass, as I said, that's going to heavily affect the bass. I'm going to leave it like that. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the limiter. I'm going to decrease the attack, decrease the release, and decrease the sustain. I learned this trick from, I forgot the dude's name, but he signed to the money, and Cody too. And they basically said that what this does is that it adds the gain. When you increase the gain, it adds the amount of dB you lost. And when you make it louder now, since you've decreased the volume, everything's the same, nothing's higher than the other, and you've increased the volume to the satisfaction of your own ears, it's gonna make it sound better. So first of all, let's see what's peaking at. So in theory, since we're trying to get to 0 minus 3 dB or 0 dB, we can just do some basic math. So 9. So we're trying to put like 4 dB, 4 dB, 4 up to 4 or 5 dB of gain reduction. So let's do that. Let's put it at 4. Okay, that's not enough. So let's put it at 6. Okay, so as I said, this is what it sounds like without the limiter. And everything sounded low because as you saw before, we decreased everything to minus 12 dB, and then we started decreasing the sounds and whatnot, and it's all peaking at 9 dB, where before it was peaking at like above plus 3 dB. But now, since we've decreased the sounds, it started peaking at 9 dB. So now we're trying to get it up to 3 dB or 0 dB, so we use the limiter, and this is what we get. Yeah, I'd like to thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you found anything I said useful.